Hey, hi, hello, my name is dis.cat. This is Project Hardcover, where we're letting books be the escape. Hello, lovelies, and today for you I have my April wrap-up. Now, if you watched my April TBR, which I will link right here, high five, you guys know that I had a lot of books I wanted to get through this month, and this was daunting for a number of reasons. One of them being that many of the books on this TBR were quite large, and two, this was the month in which all of my finals and exams and stuff took place. So I was kind of just setting myself up for failure here. But because I am an amazingly awesome human being, I didn't really fail. I actually did really well. Yes, I actually did get through quite a lot of books this month. So with that being said, let's just get started. So the first book that I tried to tackle this month was The Dark Monk by Oliver Pojic, which is the second book in the Hangman's Daughter series. But unfortunately, I wasn't feeling it. Now, don't get me wrong, I really like these books. They're really interesting and they're really gripping and everything. It's just, I was not in the mood for the historical fiction murder mystery thing. I just wasn't in the mood for it. So I got like 150 pages through, but I just found myself like forcing myself to read it, and I just didn't want to do that this month. I really wanted to accomplish a whole lot, so I didn't want to, be struggling to get it done. I wanted to enjoy myself. So I just decided to put it down, and I'm not sure when I'm going to pick this back up, but I do know that I will definitely be picking it back up because I really do like the series and it really is interesting. I just need to be in the mood for it. So I then moved on to my next book, which was Kiss of Life by Daniel Waters, which is the second book in the Generation Dead trilogy. And I really liked this book. I love this series. I love what this series does. It tackles such a huge and very complicated and complex thing like discrimination and hate crimes and bullying and all of that stuff in such a unique and quirky and digestible way, and it's just so wonderful. Also, I feel like we got to some real meat issues in this installment. We also got to see a whole lot of different facets to the characters that we were introduced to in the first book, and stuff really picks up in this one. Like, stuff is getting heavy. So overall, I really like this book. I gave this book a 4 out of 5 stars, and I'm really excited to read the third and final book in this series. The next book that I tackled in April was one of my most anticipated books of the year, and it was The Shadows by J.R. Ward, which is the 13th or 14th book in the Black Dagger Brotherhood series. I'm actually not going to go into too much detail about this because I actually did a full review on this book, which I will link right here. High five! But just know that I am ridiculously in love with this series. I am ridiculously in love with these characters. I love them all so much. They're all my babies and I love them just so much. I am so attached to this series. The series is so freaking amazing, and this was an amazing installment. 5 out of 5 stars. I cannot wait until the next one comes out. I cannot wait until the branch off series comes out. I love these books. I love them. The next book that I read in April was Prodigy by Marie Lu, which is the second book in the Legend trilogy. I read Legend in November and I liked it. It was really fast-paced and the story was really interesting. I didn't so much dig the romance, but I really enjoyed the book overall. And that's pretty much the exact review I have for this one. The action did pick up. It was a lot more action-packed and thrilling and everything, and that was really great. But the romance is, I'm just not digging it. I'm not buying it. It just seems way too insta-lovey for me way too quick, and the thing is that the characters actually kind of talk about this a little bit. They kind of have doubts themselves. They're like, we kind of jumped into this relationship a little quick. Do I really know what I'm doing here? And I'm like, yeah, do you? Do you really know what you're doing here? So it's not just me, like, even the characters are like, this romance, but the action is really, really good. The story is heating up, like, a lot, and I am interested to see where this goes. I gave this book a 4 out of 5 stars, and I hope to finish this series sometime soon, but guys, there are so many books on my TBR, it's ridiculous. The next book that I read in April, I'm sure so many of you are going to be excited about, and it was Cress by Marissa Meyer, which is the 3rd book in the Lunar Chronicles series. So, all this year, and pretty much all last year, I have just heard nothing but the greatest things about this book. Like, everyone says that it's the best book in the series so far. It was like on everybody's top books of 2014 list. I was just so super hyped about this book. I was like, this is gonna be the greatest thing that I read all month. And don't get me wrong, it was good. It just wasn't as good as I was hoping it was gonna be. I was expecting this book to like completely blow my brains out, but it really just didn't do that for me. I mean, of course it was good. I don't think it's possible for Marissa Meyer to write a not good book. It wasn't the best for me. So far for me, Cinder is still the best book in the series. That being said, I really do love seeing all of these different stories come together. I love where all of this action is going. I did love Cress and Thorn, especially Thorn. I love Thorn. But I'm still in it for Cinder and Prince Kai. Like, they are the ones who really capture the story for me. I just feel like Cinder is the most complex out of all of the characters in this series, and I really just like her parts so much more than everybody else's. All that being said though, I still gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. It was really great, it just wasn't as amazing as I was hoping it was going to be. The next book that I read in April was actually not on my TBR, and it was Sex Criminals Volume 1 by Matt Fraction and Chip Zdarsky? These weird names, man. Yes, so this is a graphic novel series that I have just heard so much about, and I have just been intrigued by it for the longest time, so I finally decided just to go out and get one. And I did, and I really liked it. Granted, it is really weird, but in a really good way. There's a whole lot of like fourth wall breaking, there's a lot of humor in here. The story is really interesting. It's very quirky, very unlike anything I ever imagined. I didn't really know what to expect going into this, and I still kind of don't know what's going on a little, but it was really good. It was really interesting. All of that being said, I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars, and I am really excited to get my hands on volume 2, because according to like everybody, the series really picks up then, stuff really starts clicking and making more sense, and it's just way better. So I am super excited to get my hands on volume 2. The next book that I read in the month of April was another one of my year's most anticipated books, and it was The Wicked Will Rise by Danielle Page, which is the second book in the Dorothy Must Die trilogy. Yes, so I was so super excited to get my hands on this book because I absolutely adored the first one. But unfortunately, this book suffered massive second book syndrome. That's right, unfortunately, this one just fell really flat. First of all, it is incredibly small. Like, is anyone else noticing that trend of first books in series being really big and then the second ones being really tiny? And coupled with it being really short, not an awful lot happens. The first half of this book is really slow. It's a lot of like self-reflection and introspection and all of that stuff, which yes, is important, but it just doesn't make for, you know, gripping or thrilling reading. But then, of course, action happens in the second half and it really does pick up, but it doesn't completely make up for the really boring first half. Also, parts of the story are just really skewing off the rail of logic. Like, I understand that you're trying to make your story more interesting and more complex, but don't sacrifice logic to make it happen. So with all that being said, I rated this a 3.5 out of 5 stars. It wasn't awful, but it wasn't great either. Nonetheless, I am super, super, super excited to see what the conclusion to this trilogy is going to look like. The next book that I read in the month of April was Percy Jackson and the Olympians, Book 2, Sea of Monsters by Rick Riordan. Yes, so I finally jumped on the bandwagon and picked up the first book in this series in November, and I liked it. I mean, granted, the story is really young, but then again, it is a middle grade series, so I totally expect that, but it's still super cute and there's a lot of action in it and it's just really adorable, and that's definitely true with this second installment. There was a whole lot of action, the characters are really adorable, and they're really smarmy and snarky, which is always fun, and the way that the mythology unfolds in these books is just so awesome and just so much fun to pick apart, trying to see how it all correlates and makes sense. It's just a lot of fun. Just overall, this series is adorable. Is it the best thing I've ever read? No, but I think that that does have a lot to do with the fact that it is a lot younger feeling. I'm 22 reading a book that's geared towards like 12-year-olds, so of course it's not going to be the greatest thing I've ever read, but it's still really cute, and I am really enjoying where this series is going. All of that being said, I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars, and I'm really excited to continue on with this series. And the last book that I read in the month of April, and I actually didn't know if I was going to be able to get it done before April was through, and it is City of Ashes by Cassandra Clare, which is the second book in the Mortal Instrument series. Yes, so in February I reread City of Bones, and I definitely liked it so much more the second time around than I did the first time. I was just so much more engrossed in the world, and I had a better feel for the characters and everything, and it was just so much better. And this book was even better than the first one. Like, I kept hearing that the books really don't pick up until City of Glass, but I disagree. I really do think that the series picked up in this one. Like, a lot of stuff happened, and it was all really interesting and all really thrilling and gripping and a whole lot of angst and stuff, and usually I don't so much care for the angst, but in this case, I really do. Cassandra Clare does angst just so well. So yes, I really like this book. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars, and I really cannot wait to get to City of Glass, because like everyone says that City of Glass is like one of the best books in the series, so I am super excited for it. So that is it. Those are all of the books that I read in April, which was a lot. Like, those were some big books. Like, I am proud of myself. I know, I had to put down one of my books. I didn't get to it, but you know what? I don't even care. I am proud of myself. I read a lot. Let me know down in the comments if you guys have read any of these books, what your thoughts on these books were. I would love to discuss all of this goodiness with you. As always, thanks you guys for watching. I will see you next time. And remember, books are the escape.